Okay, controls. Switch this over.
Can I ask you something?
Yep.
Does that butter smell odd to you? Does that one smell alright?
It's better. Is that salted?
No, I bought them both at the same time. That smells like it's gone off.
Yeah.
I bought them both at the same time. They've both been in the fridge together. And I've just grated it into the flipping flour.
Okay, let's get this stream on the road. I need to change the profile for this to the Savage Cub. There we go. Go back, apply and save. And then resume. Just setting things up for the live stream. Okay. Let's make sure all the controls are mapped correctly. So that's the throttle. That's not doing anything today. Switches aren't doing anything. Those are. Interesting. Okay, make sure all of the control surfaces move correctly and are free. Make sure the flaps work. And we don't have spoilers in this plane, so we don't need to worry about that. Looks good. Elevators, rudder, it's all looking remarkably good. Okay, let's get the live stream up on my second screen so I can see any comments coming in. We're going to take off very soon. Okay, so we're going to give it a couple of minutes before we get started. So let's go and make sure we're on an appropriate server. We'll go on the West USA server just because that's where we are in the world. So I'll go and post that in the details of the flight. Edit the video in the live stream. I'm just going to put the note in about the server we're on. Join me in the skies, West USA server in NSFS. Save. Okay. So I'm just going to put that in the comment as well. Live on the MSFS server. Out of the West USA server. Taking off from, where in the world are we? KMPI. Mariposa. Okay, so you should be able to hear me. I'm just going to check OBS to see what the levels are like. Yes, the levels are looking good. So there's the simulator. We're pretty much ready to go with the aircraft. So what do we need to do in the Savage Cub to get it up and running? We need to turn the master switch on. Some of the switches don't do anything, which is a bit annoying, but we'll turn the strobe lights on. We don't need landing lights. Magneto is on. And we're rolling. That's a bit of a surprise. Okay. So we're going to taxi from outside of the aircraft, otherwise we'll have all sorts of fun. And we ought to check which way the wind is to see which way we're supposed to take off. Whoops. And we have 2 knots. Yeah, so we need to take off from the runway we're heading towards. No hurry. So we're going to fly from Mariposa up through the valley towards Yosemite, and then go and explore the various famous rock faces and mountain faces, or mountains I should say. So it should be fun. So I'm going to take off and orbit the airfield. So I'm just holding the aircraft against the torque of the engine until we get some speed up, and then we're in the air. Beautiful day for a flight. We're on live weather, the West USA server in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're going to get a little bit of altitude circling the airfield at Mariposa, and then we're going to start navigating over towards. Let's go and shut the frequency up. There we go. I've just detuned the comm radio so we don't listen to the 80s frequencies of the nearby airfields. Okay, so we are live on YouTube. Just going to fly a few circuits to begin with of Mariposa. Evening light around here is fantastic, isn't it? So it should look really nice when we get down towards Yosemite. It should be nearly sunset by the time we get there, which will be perfect. If you've noticed the difference in the voice recording on the channel, I've got a much better microphone now. I've reverted to a boom microphone rather than a headset microphone. Makes a lot more sense. It records obviously a lot higher quality, and it doesn't seem to suffer from interference. Okay. gorgeous weather. So in the Savage Cub we only have basic instruments to rely on. We have vertical speed over here. We have an altimeter, so we're just coming up to 3,500 feet. I haven't calibrated it, so I'm going to press B, so it hasn't changed it. Pressing B on the keyboard calibrates the altimeter to the local atmospheric pressure. We've got our airspeed in kilometers an hour. We've got a tachometer, which is revs basically of the engine. Oil pressure, oil temperature, and CHT. I'm not exactly sure what CHT is. Carburetor, maybe. Okay, so we're just going to circle over Mariposa. You can see the light beacons flashing down there. So let's have a look at the map and see where we need to go. So if we were to follow, we're going to go over to Briceburg. So from here we need to go a path of, let's go and measure it on the map, 11 degrees. So when we leave Mariposa, if we fly 11 degrees, that will take us over to Briceburg, and then we can follow the valley into Yosemite, and we get all the lovely views of the valley along the way. But for the moment we're just going to circle Mariposa. If anybody wants to join me in the flight, all you need to do is spawn into Mariposa Airfield on the West USA server. The details are in the text of the flight. Otherwise, after the next circuit round, I am going to start on our way. So you can see it's a lovely evening in California. The sun's just going down. So we should get a nice quiet flight out across the Yosemite Valley. From outside, see what that aircraft looks like. If anybody's wondering about the code that's an international viewer, this is the format of general aviation codes in the United Kingdom. They all begin with G and then 4 alphanumeric characters. So obviously my name is Jonathan Beckett, so I've made up the code for my own name. My Xbox username is obviously John Beckett, so if you have labels on and you have multiplayer on in Flight Simulator, you will see me in the sky with the label of John Beckett next to my aircraft. Okay, shall we have a look at the map again then and see where we are relative to this. So we're going to swing round to 11 degrees and then start out on our way to the Yosemite Valley. So let's go and increase our rate of turn, keep it on the compass. We're just coming round to 90 degrees or east. 60 degrees. You can see where I wanted some altitude now. Coming round towards 10 degrees. So we're going to fly straight over the top of this enormous hill. So we're in no hurry, it's going to be a nice long slow flight. Let's go and have a quick look at the map. You can see we're parallel to the track, but we will see the valley once we get past this hill. If we zoom in, we'll be able to see the contour lines of this hill on the map. Yeah, so you can actually see the contours. So this is the first ridge we're going to clear, and then we're going to make our way down towards the river. So we could actually go and pass over this building over here and explore it along the way. I wonder what this building is. It's quite remote, isn't it? And very high. It's not going to be any fun trying to get there, is it? The road at the back of the hill. Okay, let's come off the throttle. You can notice our airspeed was getting quite high. Obviously it's quite safe to be in the yellow area, but red will be damage to the airframe, so we don't really want to get too fast. You start to have control problems the faster you get. So we'll stay away from the red area. So we're just descending down the back of this hill. Does the hill have a name? Should we have a look on the map? So, Mount Bullion Conservation Camp. Okay, so that was the conservation camp that we just passed. We're now coming down to Bison Creek Ranch Cabin. Let's see if we can spot that on the way. That must be this one here. So if we go from outside, it's going to be this one. Bison Creek Ranch Cabin 1. And the KNSO TV transmitter is going to be over on that hill, I guess, but obviously not for us because we haven't got that kind of detail in the simulator. So there's a ridge through here. Is that our natural route through? No, we need to go much further right now. So let's follow this valley. So we're going to go up here and then round to the left. Let's open the engine up a bit. Don't want to descend anymore. Let's have a look at the map. Yeah, that's looking good. So we want to go pretty much a straight line once we get around the edge of this ridge. So we need to go over the top of here, so full throttle. It's no problem for the Savage Cub. It can go uphill at a rate of knots. So we're leaving this valley behind. Yeah, cylinder head temperature, that makes total sense for our simulation. Yeah. Obviously you can see it climbing when I'm running at full throttle. I guess over time it would creep up and up and up. So Finn Ross is saying, I'm at the airport but can't see you. Chris88 says, hey John, hi. I have left the airport, if you're wondering. I'm sorry I didn't check the messages before I left, but I've actually flown off towards... If I look at the map, you can see I'm just entering the river on the approach into Yosemite. So the river is down in the bottom of this valley. So we're going to go down to it and follow it with the aeroplane. So back to tick over with the engine. And we'll skim along the river as far as we can on our way to Yosemite. And so we don't get lost along the way, we're going to tell Little Navmap to track where we are automatically. So when we look at it at a glance, it will still be centered on us. So we're flying along the bottom of the valley, following the river towards Yosemite. This is the interesting thing I always find. There are houses down in the bottom of the valleys. So if we go and look from here, you can see the houses, the bridges, and other features. Sometimes the scenery generation isn't, or the rendering isn't perfect. As we get closer, it will get better. Because Yosemite is one of the regions that's been given special attention by the developers. I've got labels off, so I won't see people by their label. If you come flying straight past my nose, then I won't see you. Okay, let's just trim up a little bit. The nose is trying to dive for the floor. Going quite fast. 160, 170 knots, sorry, not knots, 160 kilometers an hour. So it's probably about 120 knots. Just following the valley. Go and explore Half Dome and some of the other famous pieces of scenery at Yosemite. It's always a bit of a reveal when you get there, because obviously you don't get to see it until the valley straightens out right in front of it. So let's go and see where we are at the moment. So we're just coming up to a bit of a dogleg in the river, and then we're going to get down to the Yosemite valleys further down. So it's going to take us a good few minutes to get there. If we were to climb up, and peek over the top, you'll see it in the distance. Let's just cut over the top of this dog leg, keeping it on airspeed. all kind of hidden from us at the moment, isn't it? It's hidden away in these valleys. Gives you some idea of the scale of these hills, that we're descending at quite a rate, and we'll be descending for quite some time to get down to the valley bottom. I apologise if I sound a bit bunged up. I'm obviously going down with some sort of cold. What airport am I landing at? I don't actually know what airport I'm going to be landing at. We'll figure that out once we've done the tour of Yosemite. I know there's an airfield out the other side. We have to get there first. Let's go and have a look on the map when we have half a chance. Lee Vining Airfield. Probably. Oh, we've gone the wrong way. So we're going to climb out of this valley, skip over the top, down into the next valley. Let's have a look around. Is there a way through here? There isn't, is there? Okay, this is dangerous. Double back. Wish we could just circle and go straight over the top. Whoa, now there's a view. Tell looking at the rock, we're starting to get into the region that's been treated specially. We'll stay fairly high because the sun looks quite cool from up here, doesn't it? There's Yosemite in the far distance, so you can see it coming there. We get to see the sun going down. Flight simulator looks very cool sometimes, doesn't it? Just going to trim this airplane down a little bit. We have our usual idiots posting rubbish in the chat. Apologies for people posting the garbage. I am removing them as I see them. So for anybody that knows about it, I am going to go and run a piece of software called Transmitter. And what that will do what this will do is post my position to a page on the internet. And if I go and show you that, I need to go and run a browser to show you quickly. If I go to Virtual Flight Online, and I then go to Transmitter and Who is Online, you can see there I am. So anyone that's running Transmitter appears on this map and also in Little Nav Map. So there I am, flying along, and it updates every 5 seconds. Obviously this page doesn't update every 5 seconds, but the simulator is sending it, or the small program I ran called Transmitter is sending our position every 5 seconds. And Little Nav Map, sorry, this program is sending it every 1 second. Little Nav Map reads it every 5 seconds. So if I was to turn off the connection to the simulator, disconnect, watch what happens. If I turn on aircraft, there I am. That's the transmitter version of the aircraft. You can find all about it. I find out all about it on the Virtual Flight Online website. So Transmitter is a program you can use for group flights, so you can see exactly where each other are on a map, which obviously you can't do with Flight Simulator because it doesn't broadcast the aircraft positions of human players. So Virtual Flight Online Transmitter solves that for you. So if you go to virtualflight.online and have a look at the transmitter page, it will tell you all about it. My throat's getting worse. Need to find some lozenges from somewhere. Okay. A couple more bends in the valley and we should arrive at Yosemite. So I had an interesting conversation with my other half last night about the video that was taken down with the strike for the music. I think what happened is there was an advertisement in the middle of the music, and the maker of the advertisement, or the advertisement itself, was detected as a strike for copyright. So it got me thinking though about, I wonder what constitutes copyrighted material. So if you were to hum a song while you were live streaming, would that be a performance? And does that come under the same rules? It's an interesting one. So the scenery should get a lot more interesting very quickly as soon as we turn the corner. It's quite high up there, isn't it? This is supposed to be snow, I guess. Okay, here come some of the famous hills. Rolling in towards them now. So we're on live weather at the moment. It's doing a pretty poor job of showing snow on the hillsides. I might change it to a summer to make it a bit more fun to look at. But we'll wait and see what it looks like when we turn the corner. So we're getting snow on the trees, snow on the ground. Getting there slowly. Yeah, this late afternoon sun is going to look spectacular. Extreme D, can you go to Johnson Creek Airport? Finless is asking. Never heard of Johnson Creek Airport, but I'm sure it's a possibility. So this is the first part of Yosemite. Let's have a look at the map and see what some of the place names are. So we've just gone past Yosemite Valley View and the Bridal Veil Falls Trailhead, El Capitan picnic area. So this is El Capitan. That's towering over us. So up ahead of us we've got Glacier Point, Sentinel Dome, Taft Point, Eagle Peak is over here, so this is up here. Yosemite Falls, Sierra Point, and Half Dome and North Dome are just round the corner. So cars are switching their lights on. So should we change this to summer? Which we can do in Flight Simulator at the flick of a switch. So rather than saying we're having live weather, yeah, you can see straight away, look, it's changed. We're going to go for few clouds. And we're going to change the time of year to July. So 6 o'clock in the evening in July. And it has transformed the landscape. We could even go for a bit later, couldn't we? Should we say 7 o'clock? When does the sun go down? There we go. 8 o'clock in the evening in July. Oh, that's a bit too dark. What about earlier in the day? So if we went for 10 in the morning, look at that. So this is the Yosemite Park in the summer, in the morning. So this is Half Dome, and then to the other side of the valley is North Dome. Oh look, should we ever go landing down here? Do you think there's enough room? Possibly. So we're just going to fly across and have a look at North Dome. I guess this is North Dome here. There's Half Dome. It's spectacular, isn't it? So let's look from inside the aircraft. That is so huge. So let's just spin round and see if we can go and land on that picnic area that we saw. Trying to pick a direction to come into the picnic area from. I guess if we come in over the tree line. Oh, we can go across the field, can't we? So it flaps down. In between these trees. And we're down. Well, that was easy. The grass is a bit long. Trying to avoid the dips where the moss is growing. Taxi over. Oliver Smith says, hey Oliver Smith. Just going to get rid of another one of the spammers who's trying to spam the channel. So if we go full throttle, we're going to scare the people in these houses to death. Slowly retracting the flaps as the airspeed comes up. Oh, and there's the moon. Very cool. So if you've never seen, or anyone's ever pointed out, Apollo landed about, whoops, let's just try and control this, about there. That's the Sea of Tranquility. Or should I say Apollo 11 landed there. The other Apollos landed in different locations. So we'll fly up and down the valley, and then we'll carry on to the east, out to the airfield we talked about. So now we have the summer lighting. It's going to look dramatically different, I guess. So going back towards El Capitan. Should fly along the river. that's a view. That's a view and a half, isn't it? You can kind of see the limitations of the texturing when you're this close to it, but it's still pretty impressive. Okay, so let's spin around again. Looking good. Okay. So we're just slowly flying out away from El Capitan back towards Half Dome, and then we'll go down the valley between North Dome and Half Dome. So that's where we just landed. Oh no, it's further down, wasn't it, the picnic area we landed at. This is a floodplain next to the stream. There we go, there's the entrance between North Dome and Half Dome. So what's the next hill along the valley? Should we have a look at the map? It's going to be Swint Falls. So this is Indian Rock at the top of here. There's Half Dome and North Dome. So what's the next? What's that high peak that we can see just along from us? It's going to be at the top of here. Does it have a name? It doesn't appear to have a name on the map. It's just another high peak. So we need to be heading 75 degrees. It's a good job I looked then, wasn't it? Could really do with an artificial horizon, but we don't have one. So this is going to be a bit of a struggle for the next couple of minutes to know whether we are flying level or not. We can use the trees as reference for the most part, because trees tend to grow up, but not always. What airport can you meet me at? I'm quite away from an airport, but if you were to fly from Lee Vining and fly about 250 degrees you'd fly towards the canyon. So there's an airfield called Lee Vining, if you wanted to meet me on the way. And then we could fly back together. So this is dangerous because I haven't got much speed to play with, and I haven't got much room to play with in the canyon. And we could drop the flaps, I guess, to get an immediate lift, but I'd rather not. I'd rather have airspeed. We are just going to squeak this. That was extremely dangerous. So we're going to follow the lowest course through the hill. Oh my word. That could have ended horribly. So we're going to carry on climbing as fast as we can. Remember, we're supposed to be going 70 degrees, but we can't because we can't get out of this valley yet. We could circle in this natural bowl, I guess. See, look, we're going further north, which is fine. We can get to the road which takes us down to Lee Vining. Okay, we'll go that route, that's fine. It's just as good. So I'll keep climbing. We need to make a decision, I guess. As soon as I look left here, I'm not going to make that. So I'm going to circle. Oh, we can make that though. No, we can't. Dump the nose. Okay, let's get our speed back and start climbing gently. That peak is so high, isn't it? That's Half Dome, wasn't it? Just shows how dangerous it is following some of these canyons. You need to have an exit route planned in case you can't go where you need to. You know, you need to plan in advance, plan ahead. Because it's very, very unforgiving scenery. Feet a minute. The problem is with the height, we're already nearly at 8,000 feet, so the air is getting thinner. Katie's Aura says hi at all. Hello, Katie's Aura. Climbing at 1,000 feet still. Holding on to about 90 kilometers an hour. So we're slowly getting higher, we're getting ourselves out of trouble. And climbing out of the Yosemite Valley. Look at that view behind us, that's ridiculous. P.S. I wouldn't recommend not looking where you're going. It's probably not the best way to ensure your continued survival for the next few minutes in this sort of landscape. But we'll do it again. Whoa. Let's have a look from the outside view. So we've climbed out of the top. So there's Half Dome. That's a hell of a valley, isn't it? I mean, look at this sheer face here. It's awesome. Okay, so we can now go back in the cockpit and follow this river. Pick up some speed. Cut the engine back a little bit. So yeah, you should see now on the map, we're climbing slowly out of the Yosemite Valley. Up at the top towards Tulumna Meadows. Tulumna. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. So we're having to go fast now purely because the air is thin We haven't got much room to play with in terms of the flight envelope of the aircraft. So we're still climbing. We're 8,500 feet. We're gently climbing to this next ridge. We've got no horizon reference, which is half the problem, and we've got no artificial horizon in this aircraft, and then we've got no trees now to reference. So I'm just having to go by, is the scenery rotating around us, and looking at the compass. So we're probably not going to make this ridge, so I'm going to pull out of it now. Before we get into trouble and stall. We'll go around it. And now we have some reference, some water. So we know the water is level. Unfortunately, this is taking us further and further away from the direction we really wanted to be going. We're doing okay though. So straight line it through these hills. Should we do a touch and go on top of these rocks? I do like doing canyon turns, says Katie Zora. Yeah. Kind of flying a wall of death around the wall of a canyon. It's not kind of my idea of fun. I get what you're saying though. Ooh, nearly got the touch of the wheels. Oh well. And there was a fiery wreck in the trees down there if we got that wrong. It's probably not to be advised, is it? Touching the top of a hill at 140 knots as you come whistling past. Okay, so it's all downhill from here. If we go and have a look at the map, we are slowly approaching Lee Vining, so let's remove that distance measurement we drew earlier. Zoom in so we can actually see the route. Some enormous hills we're just passing past. I mean, the scenery in Flight Simulator is just spectacular, isn't it? So what's this one called? Let's have a look on the map. Lambert Dome, by the look of it. Actually, no. The one we're going past right now is Fairview Dome. Lambert Dome is the next one. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's huge. That will be Lambert Dome there. Okay, so we're flying out towards Lee Vining Airfield. There's another mountain over here. Should we put the weather back to real time now? Oh, it's actually got dark. Let's wind it back ever so slightly then. Let's see what that looks like. It is great fun to play with the weather in Flight Sim, isn't it? So, what if it was the early morning? go. As long as I have enough fuel, I'm good. Should we have a look? Where is the fuel meter in this thing? That's a really good question. Is it in the wing room? Yes, it is, but we can't actually see it from where we're sitting. Great. So what we can do instead is just go and look in the weight screen. And so yeah, we've got a quarter of a tank left. We're good. That's a shame, isn't it, that they haven't modelled that. Otherwise you'd be able to see a line there. Unless I'm just not seeing it. No, it's not modelled. So let's have a look. Straight across this forest. Do we have to clear the ridge? I think we do, don't we? We straight line it. Or we could follow the road round to the left. So I presume that's the road there that goes in between these two ridges. I started a mini continent hopper using the TBM. Yeah, I haven't flown the TBM for a long time actually. It's quite fast, isn't it? You can do like 300 knots cruise at altitude. And it's got a pretty good autopilot on it as well. At some point I'll have to return to the TBM and do a video explaining all the ins and outs of doing flight planning, because it's got really good systems. You can program in waypoints remarkably quickly because it's got touchscreens. It's a lot more quick. It's a lot faster to program it than it is the G1000, for example, in the planes that have that, or the G530 is it, the smaller one, the smaller Garmin GPS system. You have to use the knobs and buttons to dial in letters, and it's painful, but you can do it. And it's actually, it's good that they've included it. Okay, let's have a look around. Oops. So I think we said we can follow a road, which we are just passing over the top of. So if we turn left here, almost there. So we've got about 8 miles to go, something like that. There we go. Got a nice view of the contour lines. So this is the Nunatak Nature Trail we're about to pass, and the third pillar of Dana, which is up here somewhere. So I see that Katie's Aura has been playing Euro Truck Simulator. Seems to be the big game of the moment, doesn't it? It's been out for about 10 years, but it's become enormously popular online. Not quite sure why. I've got it installed. At some point I'll do a live stream driving a truck. Everybody can laugh. Trouble is, it'd be very boring doing a live stream driving the truck because I can't have music on in the background. That's half the fun, isn't it, of putting a radio station on. Of your own MP3 music, or playing an actual, you know, a streaming radio station while you're in the cab driving the truck. And tuning it into local radio, wherever you are in the world, in the truck sim. Kind of makes it a bit more fun. Okay, so we're just descending out of the hills back down towards this Lee Vining airfield. Oh, there's the shot, isn't it? Screenshot that one. Hooray! We have company. Somebody's about to crash into the hillside by the look of it. So we're just descending down to the water, and the airfield is on the edge of the water. So you can see we're getting close. So as soon as we turn the corner we should see the end of the airstrip. And we can put our plane down and land. See if our friend is still with us, or if they've... There they are, they're climbing up a hillside over there. So there's the start of the runway. How do I hide the UI when doing screenshots? Do you mean the gauges? It's in the accessibility options, I think, to hide the HUD, the head-up display. Okay, so yeah, with the live weather on I can't see the runway, so I'm going to change the month and the weather. to scattered clouds again. There we go, we can actually see the runway now. We've thawed out the snow automagically. Which way's the wind? Let's have a look. There appears to be no... Oh, we're not connected to the simulator anymore, are we? Tools? Flight simulator connection. Connect it once again. And wind is 3 knots crosswind, so that's nothing. That's nothing to worry about. Okay, so let's centre the view up. Sit up in the seat. Circle round. Just get a little bit of altitude so we can see. There's the airfield. Kill the speed. Flaps. Centre our view. Full flaps. We don't want to have to travel too far down the runway to come back, do we? We could taxi along the grass, to be honest. There's a slight crosswind, but nothing too serious. 3-point net. Oh, slight bounce, but that's fine. Get back on the centre line, and then let's go and turn round. Oh, we can shortcut straight across the grass. That's quite handy, isn't it? Go and park next to the Kodiak. Yeah, that guy's standing in a great place because we can't actually see him. So I'll stop there. That's probably close enough. Parking brakes on. Lift the flaps back up. Kill the magnetos. Turn the ignition off. Turn the master power off, and we're done. Okay, that was good fun. Did our friend come in and land yet? Where are they? We can hear them. Can't see them in the sky. Oh well. Okay, just for the benefit of anybody that, though, Katie was asking about a way to hide the HUD. If you press escape and go to general options and accessibility, I think it's in here. Maybe it isn't. No, it's okay. It's in assistance options then. There's a head-up display. Navigation aids, is it? Piloting. Where is it? User experience. We can search for it here, can't we? HUD. Head. Here we go. Instrument heads-up display is in user experience. Chase cam and cockpit cam, so you can switch it on and off for both. And it puts those gauges around the outsides of the screen. So it's in assistance options under user experience. Okay. Right, that's it. That's me done. I'm going to stop the live stream there. So that was a exploration of the Yosemite Valley, and then we came down in and landed at Lee Vining, so we can see the plot of our trip on little nav map, or some of it anyway. I'm going to stop recording there.